What's up, everybody? Same outfit this week. Same background. Different week. Week 5. Gaming Society. Football edition. I say edition because I like just saying football edition. That's Mike Vick getting hyped up there. I'm Dave Anderson. We've been excited. We're getting better at this. We're actually making good picks. I'm excited to review how accurate we were last week versus 2 weeks ago. We're actually doing a good job. I'm excited to share our knowledge. But more than anything, excited to talk football with Mike Vick. That doesn't get to happen every day. And here we are. I always like to start when I think it's important for us to start with basically, what do you think happened in week 4, right? Who impressed you the most? Who stood out? Who didn't show up? That's always what I want to say. Like, what happened week 4, Mike? Give me a breakdown. What do you think would happen week 4 in the NFL?
Man, week 4 was a good week. I mean, I was proud of a lot of teams. I didn't expect the 49ers to lose. Jimmy G went down, and then Trey Lance had to come in, and I thought that was a game that they could have won based on the morale of the Seattle Seahawks, and that didn't happen. A couple of teams got just stomped. The Texans got beat like 45-0 by the Bills. Like, I thought they would be more competitive. They cannot get Tyrod Taylor back soon enough.
No.
Things are going in the wrong direction down there.
They're spiraling out of control.
Yeah,
in Houston.
Things are going
Houston,
in the wrong
we have
direction.
a problem, exactly.
And that's your squad, and I didn't want to bring that up. And I know you got an affinity for them, and it's a real thing. Okay. But man, it was still disappointing. So them, and then it was good to see the New Orleans Saints. They got past the hurdle that they had to jump. So it was good to see them win. It was good to see Jameis get a win and bounce back strong. Yeah, in the right fashion, and not looking like he did the week before versus the New England Patriots, where they won the game, but he kind of like chucked one in the back of the end zone, and Sean Payton like looked down. So yeah, man, it was a good week. Good week for him. Looking forward to week 5.
I think it's on an embarrassing note. It's sad that the Monday Night Football game got suspended when you're considering it's pretty much an indoor stadium and there was a lightning delay. So I'm a little disappointed on my fellow Angelinos.
That was a good game.
That was a really good game. I'm really disappointed on the Houston Texans. I don't think I ever got shut out in my NFL career, and we had some poor teams. We started third-string quarterbacks. We had. You always got to figure your dog's got to show up. You got to put some points on the board. You got to fight, not scoring at all, because the Bills are putting their third stringers after 28-35 to nothing.
I mean, especially in the fourth quarter, at least get 3.
That's frustrating. I'm with you. There were some teams that showed up. I think people do not give us. It is so tough to overcome morale, like what you mentioned with the Seahawks. They were kind of losing that locker room a little bit, is what people had made it out to believe. It'll be interesting to see about Jacksonville. We'll talk about plenty about them coming up here. But I do look at what we set the stage. Week 1 or week 0 even here at the Gaming Society, talking about the NFL in chunks, right? That's the first quarter of the NFL. Theoretically, it used to be. Now with 17 games, it's a little wonky. But, hey, that's the first chunk. Any team that's 3-1, 4-0 is pretty happy, obviously very happy. But any team that's 3-1 is feeling pretty good about themselves, no?
Yeah. Well, you got to look at the Arizona Cardinals. And it starts with the quarterback play. The quarterback is the leader of the team, hands down. He's the captain of the ship. He's the general. And when he's playing well, everybody feeds off that energy. You know when Matt Schaub was in his heyday and he was playing some good football, you came into the game knowing you was going to get a couple looks. Yeah. And sort of on both sides of the ball, they are really clicking, and it's good to see.
It gives everyone a lot of confidence, right? Yes. Like, not just your offense and people that he's giving the ball to, but people he's handing the ball to in defense. And speaking of teams with confidence, our newsletter's intriguing matchup of the week, Sunday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills, just like you talked about, shut out the Houston Texans, are playing the Kansas City Chiefs. A matchup between, two of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, two of the best young quarterbacks in the league, two franchises that really kind of rose up, but when we were playing, the Chiefs and the Bills were not a very fun franchises to watch. These are two of the most exciting franchises in the NFL right now. I'm pretty excited to see the Sunday Night Football, Bills versus Chiefs. What do you think? And this is a Chiefs team that's getting beat up. Everyone's bringing their A game, and there's a Bills team that's coming off of 2 pretty victories. I mean, have you seen anything like this?
First of all, they served the Texans up with a serious donut.
Yeah.
And out of all the storylines and all the things that happened in week 4, that's all I can picture in my mind. I don't know the exact score, maybe 45-0, but I know when I seen it and it was the final, I was a little disappointed because it was a donut, correct? It was a donut, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and that just don't happen. I mean, we can ask our producer, when was the last time a team had a donut in the game? He might say like 2017 or something. So
well, then the Bills did it back-to-back weeks, 40-0. I think the Bills shut people out back-to-back weeks. They haven't let anyone score in 2 weeks.
I know they scored a lot of points. And they really, they whipping teams in the rear, for real. And so that being said, the matchup with Kansas City makes it more intriguing because Kansas City, they trying to get their mojo too. They got out of Philly. It was a tough win. But, all the stars showed up. I think Patrick threw 5 TD passes and Tyreek Hill caught 3.
Yep.
So they got their magic back, and that has to be on full display this week because most importantly in this game, the Kansas City Chiefs defense is going to have to play a lot better, versus Josh Allen, who's playing some good football right now.
I think that's you just touched on the key to the game, in my opinion, right? It's we know we're going to talk about quarterbacks. We got Mike Vick here talking about quarterbacks. I played offense. We're going to talk about quarterbacks, receivers. We're going to talk about explosive offenses. But it's, in my opinion, the Bills' defense versus Kansas City's defense, right? Can the Bills do something even anything like what they've done 2 out of the last 3 weeks? So it wasn't 2 weeks ago that they shut out Miami, or it wasn't last week, it was 2 weeks ago, 35-0, they shut out Miami. So, they're playing lights-out defense. Can they do anything close to that again? Because in my opinion, if they hold Kansas City to 3 touchdowns, they got a chance. But
they're going to show up with their chests out. They're going to show up with their chests out. Based on what they did the last 2 weeks, they're going to show up with their chests out and feeling like we don't care about what y'all doing or, what y'all got going on in the record, being in Kansas City. And Kansas City should respect that, and that should make them play their best football. So I expect this to be the game of the week.
Yeah, and in Sunday Night Football, in a lot of ways it is. Chiefs -3.5, so they're favored going in. Their point total 56. I think what's interesting about this is probably early October. This is one of the last weeks where you can actually expect people to be flying around in Buffalo because come end of October, November, that's when it's snow. You got it's damp, it's cold, it's a miserable place to play. That's when I would actually factor in some weather and stuff like this into the score and how many points are going to go out there. But that's not included in my opinion. But Chiefs -3.5. Who do you like in this game? Do you like the Chiefs? Do you like the Bills? To me, it's kind of a pick 'em. But Vegas has the Chiefs favored by 3.5.
Okay, the fact that I'm not up on the current schedule. Who's at home?
The Bills are at home. Chiefs versus Bills.
Bills at home. Okay.
No, wait, Chiefs at home. Who's at home? Bills versus Chiefs.
Yeah, I was thinking Chiefs.
Chiefs at home.
You want to pull it up. Chiefs at home. Okay, Chiefs Kingdom in the building.
Yeah, Kansas City at home.
Chiefs Kingdom. I did an internship with the boys. I did an internship with KC, everybody, in 2017. I almost became a coach until Fox called. Andy Reid gave me some good advice, and I got jealous. It's a good deal. Yeah, man. Based on what you just said in terms of the point spread, so you say the Bills, 3-point underdogs.
Yep.
-3, 3.5. So you're pretty much asking me a prediction of the game.
I'm asking who you think's going to win. I think it's who's going to win.
Saying,
I don't think the question is covered.
I can't. Okay, I got you. The Chiefs win. And the only reason I say that is because the Chiefs play at home. I feel like last week was a moment, man, a good moment in time for the Chiefs to just gel. And even though Josh Allen, those guys coming off 2 big wins, I think there's still some vulnerability. And this is a good test. So I think the Chiefs win, and I think they cover.
I think if this Kansas City team hadn't been to the Super Bowl, hadn't been a team that returns a lot of starters, a 2-2 start would have been frustrating for a lot of teams. that has these high expectations, but they know it's a long season. A team like the Bills, you're exactly right, is a little vulnerable in this situation. They're feeling themselves. Right. They think they're, they haven't been this experienced. They might come in and steamroll the Chiefs, might continue this on, or might they just ride high and roller coaster right into the ground. So I'm with you. I think it's interesting. But a more interesting question, do either of these quarterbacks, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, have a chance to win the MVP? I think they got a chance. Do you like either of them? Do you like either of them?
I like both of them. I like both of them. The 4 or 5 quarterbacks, I would say right now, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers playing some good football, and then got to throw Kyler Murray into the conversation. So, Josh and Patrick both have a chance because the one thing that I know is going to happen, they're going to continue to win games. And they both should sit at the top of their division, respectively, at the end of the season. So that being said, it's got to be some good football in between, and I think the good football is yet to come. Yeah. This is a marquee matchup that you can't miss.
And you know what? It puts a lot of pressure on these young quarterbacks to perform early, I think. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, now you forget he's had a couple years on a service under his belt now, and Josh Allen, but you still recognize those guys as young quarterbacks, and they're in the MVP conversation. But how about this? We're not talking. You mentioned them, but they're not the favorite to win the MVP right now. Kyler Murray, the favorite to win the MVP of the NFL right now.
That's my little bro. Yeah.
He's got to be your little bro in a lot of ways. You watch him play. There's obviously like some easy comparisons to Mike Vick. Minus he's not left-handed. He doesn't sling it like you do. But the boy has got feet. And you know what I think people forget? Like I was watching, so I go to a bar and I watch the game, and they have all the TVs on. You watch Kyler Murray escape, and it's a 2nd and 7. And he kind of like gets kind of stuck in the pocket, weasels his way out, and then kind of turns a corner and runs for 9 yards and gets a first down. It doesn't look like that big of a play. But if that's a normal quarterback, that's a sack, and that's 3rd and 12, and they're off the field. He extends a chain that you have, and people don't even see a little 8-yard run, and how impressive that 8-yard run is to get around that defensive end who runs a 4.4 probably, and then scoot out of bounds like that. Like that reminds me of you.
First off, I'd say it's really cool that you can go to a bar on a Sunday and enjoy the game and watch multiple games. I'm on a flight from LA headed back to Florida, so I get to catch 1 or 2. So that's a luxury. You
can stay with me.
That's
we'll be all right. We got
man. I know I'm gonna get the recap from, but in terms of Kyler and just being able to outmaneuver a defense the way he does, it's special, and we respect it more, Dave, because we know how hard the NFL is. You know how hard it was for your quarterback to play that position. You might watch yourself on film, but you see him getting killed in the backfield or can't escape pressure, etc. And we appreciate those moments. People kind of see it and they come and go to fans, but it's not until they're done with their careers that people look back and appreciate it for sure.
I think it's also something that people don't realize that allows you to call a lot more plays when your quarterback is mobile. When you can get him out of the pocket and you're not worried about him, a defensive end crashing, and he's got to immediately dump the ball to a releasing tight end or something like that. You can get him around the corner, create extra time. You could do a double or triple move down the field. That's why you see all these Cardinal receivers able to catch the ball so far downfield. It's not that like the routes are cold. There's 4 of them, and they got 5 seconds to run all the way down there. So you got plenty all day.
It's good football. It's purest form. Shout out to Rondale Moore doing this thing. Christian Kirk, D-Hop, AJ Green.
Is there a guy that catches more difficult passes than DeAndre Hopkins? I don't think I've ever seen it. When they do the slow-mos of him when he has the defense, what Ramsey had his hand in between the ball and he was contorting it and twisting there, fighting it. He almost pinned it on the ground again. Like his focus, his in-air focus, which I never really had because I didn't have that much hang time. But like he has that like Jordan-esque hang time where you can catch it, and then he's got enough wherewithal to kind of move his hands or his body in another direction to shield himself. Like that stuff I always find super impressive.
Call him smooth.
That's legit.
We're gonna call him smooth.
Yeah, the storyline of that Cardinals game, though, right? So Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, one amazing matchup of young quarterbacks. Kyler Murray is now going to be facing Trey Lance, who people have talked a lot about, who the Niners made a lot of moves to get. They're going to be questioning this move for 4 or 5 years. Is taking over his first snaps of this game. 49ers, Cardinals, Kyler Murray, Trey Lance, 2 young quarterbacks, 2 guys who are supposed to kind of play the game the same way. I'm curious, when you see a quarterback across from you that reminds you of yourself, almost do you take over some scout team reps or something? Do you help the scout team out? Like, what do you think it's like over there on Tuesday through Friday?
It don't work. It don't work. The best thing that, both teams can tell one another is, look, play our quarterbacks in practice the way you're going to play the game, because both of them are dual threats. They're going to try to beat you with their arm, or they're going to try to beat you with their legs. And that's what I'm excited about with Trey Lance. Now Kyle Shanahan gets a different dynamic with his quarterback. He probably could add another 15 or 20 more plays, effective plays that can help the game. So I never take that part for granted. And I can't wait to see if this boy going to shine or not. And it's a big game because all eyes will be on Trey Lance, rightfully so, and it makes for an intriguing matchup.
Go a little deeper on that with me, and that remind me. Okay, so when you talk about the playbook opens up, we talked a little bit about maybe a play action pass. When you're feeling when your quarterback and your offensive coordinator are in sync like that, and you go from Jimmy G, who's a a Tom Brady-esque quarterback, give me drop 5, move up, throw the ball. Now all of a sudden you got Trey Lance. What type of plays? Who's going to catch the ball? Where on the field is more action going to happen? What do you think? What does that offense look like?
Zone read, more zone read, which you talked about this past week on Fox, how it's becoming even more relevant. And then that opens up the middle of the field. So that's why Lamar's had a lot of success with his tight ends, the middle of the field, the corner routes. So all that becomes open because now you got people
because I'm sucking up the will linebacker.
Yeah, sucking people up,
the will linebacker. Down, someone's paying attention.
Freezing. Okay. We freezing people.
Yep.
We freezing this way to throw that way. We freezing this way to throw this way, or to go down the middle. We just freezing people. Hard play action come off of it, and then you're running the ball effectively. If you run eccentric and you can block the scheme up, oh man, it's so much that you got to coach in that. But when the guys get it, you get a smart group that can execute it. Oh my God, it's instant offense.
I think also is like if you want to catch a defense, what's the right word? Off guard. Yeah, but like when a defensive line has their head down and they're rushing really hard, and you run a screen on them and you just catch them by surprise, and you're using their strength against them. I feel like that's what fast quarterbacks can do with a good offensive coordinator, right? Yeah. They can use their defensive strengths against them because they know they want to do. They know that linebacker wants to come up, or they know that quarter safety wants to come play this zone read, and I can throw it over his head or something like that. So it allows you even just a little more time for a fake. Maybe that's the right way to say it. I'm trying to say, and some gotcha plays. A lot more gotcha plays when you got a fast quarterback.
It's all about the element of surprise. And you look at some of the best guys in the game, some of the best quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott. These guys are operating at the line of scrimmage and catching teams off guard. You see a lot of guys running wide open, and I think our fans don't understand it, but it's because the quarterback caught the defense off guard.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you don't see that in the league when guys just running wide open. So these guys are executing at a real high level.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I think our favorite part of this, the gaming society here, is we're here to talk ball. And then let you relate that to the game. The Cardinals -4 point spread, 53.5. Cardinals are definitely are favored in this game, being the 4-0 team, and the Niners coming off a loss and starting a rookie quarterback, or a brand new quarterback, rookie, whatever you want to say. But like those things are factored in. Those things are factored in at Arizona. Not like that matters too much. It's not that crazy of a distance. But I personally, I think I might be going against you. I like the Cardinals here. I think that's my pick. 53.5. I'm also going the over on that. Yeah. I think this is going to be a high scoring game for the things we just mentioned. I think I talked myself into that listening to you talking about opening up zones. Kyle Shanahan trying to throw the ball over people's head. 4 receivers for the Cardinals running deep. So that's where I'm at. I'm not sure where you land, but Cardinals -4 is the spread.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm riding the Cardinals wave until I see otherwise. More importantly, because their defense is playing better.
Yeah.
I mean, dudes flying around the ball, Buda Baker, Simmons, those guys playing good football. And I say all that to say, I do think the 49ers going to produce some good offense. I mean, how could we not expect that coming from Kyle Shanahan? But the defense, I gotta gain some trust in the 49ers defense.
Yeah.
And that might happen over time.
Yeah, I think so. These NFL lines, I always tell people this is more entertainment for anything. These are always so tight that all these things are factored in. It's never an easy pick for us. But one thing that is a little more fun for us to do here at the Gaming Society is always to teach people something at the Betting Academy. Yeah. One we're going to re-reference is a prop bet. That means everything but the game totals, right? Basically, is there something fun that you can bet on? And we've been doing a couple of these. I've been keeping track. We're basically 50-50, right? And one of our favorites are first to 10. So we're going to do the 49ers Cardinals for all out those listeners. Who's the first to who's going to be the first team to score 10 points, Cardinals or Niners?
Cardinals.
First to 20.
Cardinals.
Do both teams score more than 15 points?
Yes.
Does San Francisco's team total go over 22.5?
Yes.
Do the Arizona team total go over 27.5?
Yes, and I'm taking the over, by the way. On this game.
And then
so, to be clear,
first scoring player of the game is
San Francisco get a touchdown.
I was going to say San Francisco field goal. I'm going to say first to 10 is going to be the Niners, though. First to 20 is going to be the Cardinals. I have a feeling this is going to be a game where the Niners got some gotcha plays early. I've always been a big believer in Kyle Shanahan's first 15.
Strong.
He's always done a great job. They're going to come out strong.
Yeah,
I think they're going to have some easy completions for Trey Lance. I also know that this crew over here, this Cliff Kingsbury, Shanahan, McVay, they got a little click going on over here in this NFC West. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're like these cool cats.
They running the league right now on the low.
They're trying to trick each other or something. Yeah. So that's the prop bet section. I always am a big fan of those because it gives you a random thing to cheer for in the game. You're not You're the one guy in the bar, at least in my case, yelling at the screen for excited about a 49ers field goal on a plus 355 bet. So that's always a good fun way to get involved in the game as a prop. Is the prop bet. So that's the betting academy there for you. Mike doesn't need any more education on the prop bets. We're well versed in that.
I'm good on that.
Getting into this week, the primetime picks always are primetime games, the Thursday night and the Monday night football game. One big one, I think because of the things you mentioned. Thursday night football this week, Rams versus Seahawks. Reading my screen right here. Point spread. Rams are favored. Here's why I mentioned this off the bat. This is a key thing to note. The line opened that Seattle was favored -1. Okay. And over the course of this week, it switched that the Rams are now favored. And so that tells you that there's a lot more people believing in the Rams than the Seahawks, right? People are kind of moving around. But it doesn't always – but that's not how always it ends up. It might go back. But it's really interesting because Vegas will never do just a dead even pick'em game. They'll always try to sneak a point in there. Even when they know it's a pick'em game, they'd rather go over and let everyone figure it out. Okay, I'd rather still bet. But it's really interesting that Seattle was originally favored – and now the Rams are, even though it's -1. But I really think this is probably the best Thursday night football game we've had besides opening week. Rams or Seahawks. A big win by Seahawks this week. Do you think they can pull off something against the Rams?
I mean, I'm not taking no credit away from what the Bengals and the Jaguars put on display a couple weeks ago on Thursday night. That was a really intriguing game, man. I really enjoyed what I was watching. I mean, two young guns going at it. I mean,
that's fair. That's fair.
The Bengals win. Yeah, so it was a really good game.
Let's just say like the most high profile matchup a little bit,
Right. Yes, in terms of pizzazz, no doubt.
I'm in LA. You know, what do I expect?
Yeah, no doubt. Showing some love. But on the contrary, I would say that, this is a big game for Seattle. It's a divisional game. These are the ones that really count. And I really feel like Matthew Stafford comes into this game knowing that in order to get to, the postseason, let's just start with that, you got to win the division. Sean McVay really does play better, perform better as a coach from a coaching standpoint, versus the divisional games. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna go with the Rams on this one, man. I know it's a big game for the Seattle Seahawks, and they gotta win it, but something tells me that defense in Seattle won't be able to stop Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
Is the NFC West the best division in football right now, you think?
No.
Cardinals, Niners,
it's
Seahawks,
the AFC
Rams?
West. AFC West.
You think it's the AFC West, Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs?
Yep. The Chargers are good. Raiders are good. They just had to face each other last night.
Yep.
Kansas City Chiefs are good. It's a good division. That's the best division in football.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the NFC. If the NFC West is not the best division, they're definitely second. I think maybe to the AFC West. You might be right there.
Yeah, potentially.
And I don't think people, especially the, and this isn't an issue early on when you're thinking about matchups and either who to place a bet on or starting fantasy, whatever it is, but break it down a little bit for me in a division game versus a non-division game. Right, these are guys that you've seen, not just that you're gonna see twice, but you've seen what if you've been there 5 years, you've seen 10 times, right? Like you know this situation. What does that mean?
Which makes you angrier as a person, as a player. I don't want to see them again. Like when I was in Atlanta and we played Carolina, I didn't want to see Steve Smith again. I don't want to see Julius Peppers. I don't want to see Chris Jenkins. I just seen you 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, and now here we go again. So, and I know the magnitude of the game. We really need to win this game. So it made us kind of like hate each other more because we're the reasons why you could be out of the playoffs or wild card and vice versa. So the conference games, you in the NFC and you play for Atlanta, you play a team like Detroit or the Packers or you play the Saints. It's out of conference, so you're not really worried about the outcome. You want to win because the more conference games that you win in the NFC, it increase your chances, even if you lose your division. If you win enough conference games, you can knock enough teams out of the box, and then you know how it plays a factor in the end. And then out of conference games, you're in the NFC playing the AFC, it don't affect nothing. You're in the AFC playing the NFC, those games don't matter. They do.
Yeah.
They do, especially for the guys playing because you get paid to play. But for postseason, you see what I'm saying?
You're answering the question, and I think a way I always think about it, and this isn't a way that is tally, but it's almost like hockey or baseball. It's like a half a game. It's like 1.5 games with you beat someone in your division. It's not a full 2 wins. But like if you're the Falcons, you go into New Orleans and beat them. It's like winning 1.5 games almost.
Yeah.
Because then if you win at your own place, you've been like, man, we knocked you guys, you damn near out of the playoffs. 2 losses in a division opponent. That means you can't even, like, you're barely a 50-50 in your own conference. And I think this is an interesting part. People forget to factor in is these conference games, what they mean, how often these teams see each other, and especially if it's not a new coach and not a new quarterback, right? These are teams that are basically, you think like the Seahawks and Rams, they basically saw each other at the end of last year. They probably they're going to see each other 2 more times this year, and you factor in a couple. This is 6 times in 3 years they've seen each other playing football. So I'm with you. I'm sticking with the Rams, and then the Monday Night Football game. We got an interesting matchup in that the Colts are trying to find out who they are. Right? We got the Colts versus the Ravens on Monday Night Football. Ravens are obviously favored as the Colts are trying to find their identity, trying to find their quarterback, trying to find out who they are as a team. And to me, that's the story. Are the Colts going to be able to go up to Baltimore and figure out who they are? Because Baltimore sure as shit knows who they are.
Well, I think it's imperative that they know who they are when they walk into that stadium, so they don't leave out of there with a potential loss or an embarrassment, which could potentially happen if you don't prepare for Lamar Jackson. We know what Lamar's going to do. They looked good last week versus Denver, 3-1. They shook back. They had some big wins that gave them confidence. But, in terms of, the Colts and Carson Wentz and everything that's in front of them right now, this is a big game for them. And if they can win it somehow to give them confidence, once again, it's a conference game where it's AFC game that, at the end of the year, in the totality, it can count for something.
Yeah.
So, in terms of, Carson Wentz just finding his identity right now and getting comfortable, settling in, this is a game where you go on the road and you get this one, people are starting to say Carson Wentz is back.
I think that's what I'm most interested in, right? And that, like, I've been on some teams where we lost a quarterback and we lost one of our bigger players, and then we try to sub in someone else and it work, right? You look at like the Colts over the last couple of years, and people. I don't think the average fan. Maybe I'm harping on some of this too much this entire episode, but I know as a player what I was gonna get when I walked in and played the Pittsburgh Steelers. I knew as a player what I was going to get when I walked in and played the Miami Dolphins. They didn't have the type of gravitas that the Steelers did. I knew I wasn't going to play as a tough a team. I was going to play a fast team. I was going to play a slick team. Right? That was their identity. I knew who I was going to get when I played the Patriots. I don't know who you're going to get since the Colts. Since Manning and Andrew Luck, they were the same type of team. They were a team that would methodically beat you. They were a team that was well run from the quarterback position. They were fairly simple on defense, and they would just vertical and cross you to death on offense, and then strike you with a great running back. I don't know who they are anymore, right? Like Carson Wentz, I don't think has figured out who he is technically as a quarterback in a lot of ways. He's an incredibly gifted football player.
Is on my fantasy.
And he's killing you. And
you know how we feel about our fantasy league right now. JT was good. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, you know what? We might as well perfectly segue into that, because you know what? The Colts Ravens, it's -6.5 for the Ravens. That's that point right there. It's not above or below 7. So I'm taking the Ravens. I think they're definitely a touchdown win in this game. I'm not a big believer in a team that doesn't have an identity. Point total's 50. That's the more interesting line, I think. I could go either way on that one. It really depends on how much faith you have in Carson Wentz and the Colts. Are they going to put up some points? Because I think the Ravens can definitely score 30. Are the Colts going to score 20?
I'm taking the under on that. I'm taking the under.
But speaking of the under, fantasy football, I was not under. I was over again for 4 weeks in a row with another W. Jonathan Taylor actually produced well for you, as you
he came through for me.
A big fantasy football victory for Mike Vick. And let me tell you, Mike Vick, I don't know if you read the accolades in the Sleeper app, but you got Manager of the Week. Congratulations.
I mean, that don't surprise me. That don't surprise me, man. I'm making moves.
But more importantly, and I hope we need to send this segment to him, the worst Manager of the Week, Paul Pierce. Needs to focus, get back on there, which is unbelievable that he got the worst manager when Ray Lewis forgot to sub out one of his receivers and got the lowest score in the league with 78.6 points.
Hey man, they better pay attention. You got to pay attention to what's going on.
We better get Ray Lewis back in the game. We better get Ray Lewis back in the game. I'm currently dominating, and going into week 5, Mike Vick's got the double tight end Eric Dickerson to deal with. Who honestly, if Travis Kelce and Kittle have good games, they are tough to deal with. But he doesn't have enough receivers on his roster, so I think he'll be all right.
The Arizona Cardinals know who they got to stop. I think they know that.
And I'm going after producer Mike Davis, who I'm not going to take it easy on him. I'm going to be honest. Like, you know what? Sometimes with some of these guys, I'm like, I don't need to sub in my better player. I'm going all out. I'm going for Manager of the Week this week. I'm going to try to murder Davis. I'm going to try to pin him into some bad players. I might try to do something in free agency. Davis, I'm showing no mercy on you. I hope you know that. I'm going for 5-0, And you know what? It makes me feel good that like the data guy is actually winning right now. Because if I were 0-4, I don't think I would hear the end of it from you. You'd be like, I thought you were supposed to be teaching me something.
Those guys got some inside job going on.
So
Mike still owe me a player. He still owe me Devontae Adams. And you know what? To step up to the plate.
If you haven't seen our fantasy draft, you might want to put it on during lunch or something and put it in the background. It's the funniest shit I've seen in a long time.
It was so good.
Like getting Paul Pierce online, Mike getting jacked out of 2 picks, the comments by and the comment thing by KG, Paul Pierce telling he's gonna drive over to KG's house and scoop him up. That was too funny.
Yeah, good stuff.
But one segment that we wanted to kind of wrap it all in with, and we want to end this show, is what we call the all in. You know what? I've been listening to what you've been talking about. How you've been kind of formulating your what you think about these different teams. You know, I'm scrolling back up here. How you talked about the Bills and the Chiefs. How you broke down Trey Lance, Niners and Cardinals. How you talked about the division play with the Rams and Seahawks. We got an all-in bet. It's our section to say, you know what? I'm listening to all you've had to say. What are we in on? I'll tell you what I'm in on, and it's something we haven't mentioned, but I hear you talk about it. I'll start the all-in on. You can piggyback or go on your own. I think morale, and you talked about that at the very top of the show with the Seahawks, rallying and winning. And I think morale is key. And I think the morale in Jacksonville is so low it can't get any lower. I also think it touches on another thing that we mentioned was this is a division game. This is the Titans versus Jacksonville. I don't care if the Titans have 1 or 2 receivers. They still got Derrick Henry, and there is nothing more of a morale beater than watching a 6'4", 250-pound man just pound you in the face for 4 quarters. So I got my all-in bet is on the Titans to cover because I don't think Jacksonville wants to play football for Urban Meyer right now. But I'm curious where you sit on your all-in of the week.
My all-in of the week, I'm going all-in on the Arizona Cardinals. I think after a quarter of the season, they done showed me that they are a complete team on both sides of the ball. I think they really buying into what Cliff Kingsbury is selling and just some good football being played in Arizona. I know that look, the 49ers need a win, and they got a new rookie quarterback that's going to be starting. And as a defensive player, I would think that those guys feel real good about playing against a rookie. You got to trick them. You got to get him off his mark. You got to make him uncomfortable. That being said, Kyler Murray is not uncomfortable. They got 4 amazing receivers, and he got options, and they got a run game, and he's part of it too. So I'm taking Arizona Cardinals to win and cover all bets.
All in. I like it. You know what? It really encapsulates kind of what we've been talking about. We're all in. We're all in with the Gaming Society. This is week 5. I'm excited to be back next week. You know what? We got a lot of good matchups. We got good Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night football games this week. Will be a good one. Mike Vick. I'm Dave Anderson. Thank you, everybody. That's the Gaming Society Football Edition. Make sure to sign up and subscribe at thegamingsociety.com and hit that follow button at The Gaming Society on all social platforms.